Most people today wouldn't last a day hunting for their own food. But the Inuit? They had to catch massive whales with no modern gear, no shortcuts, and no room for mistakes. Just pure skill, patience, and a whole lot of courage. And their first challenge? How to track whales without modern tools. In the brutal Arctic wilderness, where temperatures drop to negative 84 degrees Fahrenheit, Inuit hunters faced an impossible challenge: finding massive whales without any modern technology. No radar screen showed where whales swam beneath the ice. No satellites gave coordinates. No engines powered their hunt. Just human skill against the harshest environment on Earth. The sea ice became their map. Hunters could spot nearly invisible patterns in the frozen surface. Tiny cracks, slight color changes, or different textures that revealed where whales might come up for air. A skilled hunter would place his ear against the ice and listen carefully. The soft bubbling of water below might be the only clue that a huge bowhead whale was coming. Talk about a high-stakes game of Marco Polo where the loser doesn't just get wet, they get frostbite too. The ice speaks to those who know how to listen, goes an old Inuit saying, every pop, crack, and groan meant something important. One wrong guess could send hunters miles in the wrong direction, or onto thin ice where a single step meant falling into freezing waters. Whales, even with their huge size, follow regular paths through the ocean. Families pass down knowledge about these underwater highways through stories and songs instead of written maps. Elder hunters remembered exactly where successful hunts happened many years before. These guys had the world's most impressive mental GPS system. No recalculating route needed when you've memorized the ocean for 1,000 miles in every direction. The hunt needed teamwork that seemed almost magical. Families worked together, sometimes spread out miles apart along possible whale routes. With no phones, they used hand signals, snow markers, and sometimes smoke signals that could be seen across great distances. In blinding snowstorms, they relied on their sled dogs' amazing senses. Temperature itself helped them track. Whales created slightly warmer spots in the sea ice where they came up repeatedly to breathe. On the coldest days, these breathing holes let out small clouds of steam, visible only to experts who knew what to look for. Mother Nature's version of you are here signs if you squint hard enough. Ocean currents told stories too. Hunters learned to notice small changes in water movement under the ice. They knew whales like certain underwater areas, deep channels, edges of ice shelves, or valleys where food gathered. By making test holes and feeling the direction of currents with their hands, they could guess where whales would show up hours before they arrived. Most impressive was how they tracked by sound. Water carries whale noises and movements very well. Using simple hollow tubes placed against the ice, hunters basically invented their own underwater microphones. The steady, swooshing sound of a whale's huge tail could travel for miles underwater. Hunters could tell different types of whales apart just by the unique sounds they made while swimming. It was like having front row seats to nature's concert, except the tickets cost way more. Sometimes your fingers and toes get frostbite. All this knowledge took a lifetime to learn. Young hunters started picking up these skills almost from birth, going along with older hunters as soon as they could walk. By the time they led their first hunt, they had spent thousands of hours watching and practicing. The tracking skills that helped Inuit families find whales also helped them stay safe on the dangerous ice. But once they found their massive prey, they faced an even bigger challenge. Finding a whale was only half the battle. Getting close enough to strike required patience, stealth, and perfect timing. A scared whale could disappear beneath the ice for 40 minutes or more, and when it did surface, it might be miles away. Inuit hunters built kayaks designed for silent movement. Each kayak was made with sealskin stretched over driftwood or whalebone frames. The smooth bottom slid through water almost noiselessly. These kayaks were the ninjas of the Arctic, totally silent until it was too late for the whale to react. The hunters wore white coats made from polar bear fur or clean sealskin to blend with ice and snow. Some even covered their faces with white paint made from crushed shells and animal fat. From a whale's view looking up through water, these hunters became nearly invisible against the bright sky. Moving slowly was key. A splash or quick movement could warn whales of danger from hundreds of feet away. Hunters practiced staying perfectly still for hours, even in terrible cold, waiting for the right moment. Timing mattered most. Whales followed regular breathing patterns, especially when eating. The best time to approach was during the final breath before a deep dive, when the whale was busy filling its lungs rather than looking for threats. Imagine trying to sneak up on someone while they take a deep breath, except that someone weighs as much as 20 school buses. Weather had to be just right. Hunters liked slightly choppy water, which hid small sounds. Wind direction was important too. Approaching from downwind kept whales from smelling human scent. One wrong breeze could waste hours of careful setup. Hiding human smell became important. Some hunters rubbed their bodies and tools with whale oil saved from earlier hunts. Others chewed certain Arctic plants that, when spit into the water, made sensations that curious whales found interesting rather than scary. Staying quiet reached extreme levels during the final approach. Hunters only used hand signals and eye contact. They wrapped their paddle handles in soft seal fur to quiet the sound of wood against the kayak edge. They even controlled their breathing, blowing out slowly underwater when very close. Team planning had to be perfect. Different hunters had different jobs. Some would wait near escape routes, while others made the main approach. In open water, they made wide circles around feeding whales, slowly making the circles smaller. Near ice edges, they used the solid ice as a wall to guide the whale toward waiting hunters. Hunters learned to read whale signals. A lifted tail often meant a deep dive was coming. Fast breathing showed a whale might be getting suspicious. Bubbles appearing in strange patterns could mean the whale had noticed something wrong. It was like learning a secret language where getting the translation wrong meant no dinner for a month. Once close enough to strike, the most dangerous part of the hunt was about to begin. The moment of truth arrived. After tracking and approaching the whale, hunters faced their greatest challenge, taking down a creature that could weigh up to 100,000 pounds using only hand-thrown weapons. No guns, no explosives, just muscle, skill, and clever tools. What made this task even harder? The skin and blubber layer of a whale is tough. The outer layer of a bowhead whale can be up to 1.5 feet thick in some areas, about as thick as a car tire. Imagine trying to poke through a tire with a stick. Now make that tire alive, angry, and the size of a school bus. Welcome to whale hunting. The Inuit harpoon was a marvel of engineering. Unlike fishing spears, traditional whale harpoons had detachable heads. The main shaft was usually made from driftwood, often over 6 feet long. At the business end sat a toggle head made from ivory or bone. This head was designed to enter the whale, then pivot sideways under the skin and blubber, making it nearly impossible to pull out. It was basically The world's deadliest version of those annoying plastic tags on new clothes that seem impossible to remove. Attached to each harpoon head was a line made from seal or walrus hide. These weren't just ropes, they were masterpieces that took months to create. First, the hide was cut in a continuous spiral. Then, it was stretched, dried, and carefully chewed to make it soft and flexible. The finished line could stretch to over 50 feet and was strong enough to hold against the pull of an angry whale. The throwing technique required incredible strength and accuracy. A hunter had exactly one chance to get it right. The ideal target was the area just behind the blowhole, where vital organs were closer to the surface. Missing this spot could mean a wounded whale that escaped, or worse, a furious animal that turned to attack. Connected to the harpoon line were several floating sealskin bags called avatak. These served as drag buoys, making it harder for the whale to dive deep after being struck. Some hunting groups used up to 12 of these floats, gradually adding more to tire the whale out. After the first strike, the hunt entered its most dangerous phase. A wounded whale might swim for miles, dragging boats behind it. Hunters had to carefully manage the line, letting it play out when the whale pulled hard. Then drawing close again when it tired. Too much tension could snap the line or flip the kayak. The first strike rarely killed the whale outright. Hunters needed to get close enough to deliver more strikes to vital areas. This often meant hours of following the wounded animal, sometimes into dangerous open water. This was the original marathon, except instead of getting a medal at the finish line, you got dinner for 6 months. Working as a team was crucial. While some hunters managed the lines and floats, others prepared for the killing blow with special lances. These weapons had longer shafts and sharper points designed to penetrate deeper to reach vital organs. The most dangerous moment came at the end. A dying whale could thrash violently, capsizing boats or crushing hunters between its massive body and ice floes. Many hunters carried scars that told stories of close calls, proof of just how dangerous this ancient tradition could be. With the massive sea creature finally subdued, the hunters faced their next challenge, one that would test their skills. With the hunt complete, a race against time began. A dead whale floating in Arctic waters presented a new set of challenges even more daunting than the hunt itself. First came the monumental task of moving this massive creature from water to ice. Large whales couldn't simply be dragged onto the ice in one piece. They had to be processed while still floating. Hunters would secure the whale's body to the edge of an ice floe, using holes cut through the ice to pass ropes around it. It was basically the world's coldest and most difficult parallel parking job ever attempted. Speed mattered. In temperatures that could plunge to negative 84 degrees Fahrenheit, a whale carcass would begin freezing solid within hours. Hunters used special curved knives, called ulus, to slice through the thick layers of blubber and meat. These half-moon-shaped blades allowed for quick, efficient cutting motions that preserved precious energy in the brutal cold. Working in shifts was essential. No one could stand cutting in the freezing air for more than 20 minutes without risking severe frostbite. Teams rotated, with some cutting while others warmed their hands. Despite these precautions, frost-damaged fingers were common among experienced hunters. These guys invented the "I need a coffee break" system long before office workers, except their excuse was actually "my fingers are turning black." The cutting followed precise patterns passed down through generations. First, long strips of blubber were removed in sections about 2 feet wide. These blankets of fat were hauled onto the ice using bone hooks and rope. Next came the meat, cut into manageable chunks that could be transported by sled. Blood management became a serious concern. The scent of fresh whale blood could attract every polar bear within miles. Lookouts were always posted during butchering, scanning the horizon for approaching predators. The cold itself became both enemy and ally. While it threatened the hunters with frostbite, it also preserved the meat. In fact, pieces left too long on the ice had to be thawed before cutting could continue. Hunters sometimes use their own body heat, tucking smaller tools inside their clothing to keep them warm enough to handle. Women played a crucial role in the later stages of butchering. They arrived with sleds to transport meat back to the community and often handled the finer cutting that divided large sections into family portions. Their expertise in food preservation was just as important as the hunting skills that brought down the whale. Nothing went to waste. Even the blood-soaked snow was collected in containers, as this mixture would freeze into a special treat eaten like a popsicle. The original snow cone business, though thankfully, that particular flavor never caught on at modern carnivals. Tools had to be constantly maintained during butchering. The extreme cold made metal brittle, and bone or ivory could crack if used improperly. Hunters carried spare cutting edges, resharpening blades throughout the process. A dull knife meant wasted energy, something no one could afford in such a harsh environment. The entire community gathered as the butchering neared completion, forming sled trains to transport the bounty home. The meat and blubber from a single medium-sized whale could feed a community of 40 people for up to 6 months, making the difficult and dangerous work worthwhile. As the final pieces were loaded onto sleds and the blood-stained ice began to disappear under fresh snowfall, the community prepared for a different kind of challenge, one that would test their creativity as much as the hunt had tested their courage. Back in the village, the real magic began. Every single part of the whale found a purpose, creating a stunning example of waste-free living that would put modern recycling efforts to shame. Let's start with the obvious, the meat. Whale meat became a dietary cornerstone, providing protein in an environment where plants were scarce. Different cuts had different uses. The back meat was often cut into thin strips and dried on racks to create jerky that would last for months. The original beef jerky, except you didn't have to stand in line at a gas station to buy it. The tongue was considered a special delicacy, reserved for community elders or distributed during celebrations. A single bowhead whale tongue could weigh up to 2,000 pounds, roughly the same as a small car, and contained enough meat to feed dozens of people for several days. Muktuk, the skin and attached blubber layer, became a crucial food source because it contained extremely high levels of vitamin C, preventing scurvy in a place where fresh fruits were impossible to find. This whale superfood delivered 10 times more vitamin C than an equal serving of oranges. Mother Nature's original multivitamin, but with a flavor profile that would definitely make kids cry. Blubber transformed into oil through a careful rendering process. This oil fueled soapstone lamps called quillic, which provided both light and heat inside homes during the dark winter months. A single whale could produce enough oil to keep several families warm and illuminate their homes for an entire year. The baleen, those bristly plates that hang from the upper jaw and filter food, became one of the most versatile materials. Long, flexible, and incredibly strong, baleen was used to make fishing line nets and snare. When heated and bent, it could be shaped into sled runners that glided smoothly over ice. Nothing showed Inuit ingenuity better than their use of whale bones. The massive jaw bones became the structural framework for homes. Ribs served as sled runners and roof supports. Shoulder blades became snow shovels. Smaller bones transformed into everything from sewing needles to harpoon tips. These folks were basically running a prehistoric Home Depot where everything was made from one really big fish. The intestines, cleaned and dried, became waterproof material for clothing and windows. When stretched tightly and sewn together, gut became translucent glass that allowed light into homes while keeping frigid air out. Even parts we might consider unappetizing were valuable. Brain tissue became a treatment for preserving and softening hides. The liver, packed with vitamins A and D, was especially prized during the dark winter months when sunlight, and therefore natural vitamin D production, was absent. Some whale products became valuable trade items. Communities with successful hunts could exchange whale materials for inland resources like wood or certain types of stone. This trade network stretched hundreds of miles, connecting coastal and inland groups. These incredible resources did more than just keep people alive. They formed the center of a rich cultural tradition that brought people together in ways that went far beyond simple survival. After the exhausting work of hunting and processing the whale, you might think everyone would just want to sleep for a week. Instead, the successful hunt triggered one of the most important social events in Inuit culture, a celebration that brought entire communities together and strengthened bonds that helped them survive the harsh Arctic environment. The feast began almost immediately. The hunting crew received special portions first, particularly the maktak, or fresh whale skin with blubber attached. This wasn't just a reward for their dangerous work. It also provided instant energy replacement after days of physical exertion. The original post-workout protein snack, though it probably wouldn't sell well at modern gyms. Word of a successful hunt spread quickly to neighboring communities. In some regions, messengers were sent to villages up to 50 miles away, inviting them to join the celebration. These messengers carried small pieces of maktak as proof of the hunt's success, an edible invitation that no one would turn down. The first RSVP system where yes was the only option, unless you enjoyed starving. The distribution of whale meat followed strict traditional rules. The hunter who landed the first successful strike received certain prize cuts, including parts of the flipper. But no one, not even the most skilled hunter, kept everything for themselves. Instead, the majority of the whale was divided among all community members, according to ancient sharing customs. These sharing systems were so important that they were given special names like minjik in some regions, which specifically referred to the fair distribution of whale meat. Drums made from stretched walrus stomachs or seal skin led the celebration. The distinctive hollow rhythm could be heard throughout the village, announcing to everyone that the feast was beginning. The original party announcement system, no Facebook event invites needed. Special songs honoring the whale spirit filled the air. Many of these songs were only performed during whale celebrations, making them rare and treasured cultural moments. Some hunting groups believe that whales could hear these songs even from great distances across the ocean, and would be more likely to offer themselves to hunters who showed proper respect through music and dance. Basically, a thank you note to the whale, except instead of a card you wrote with your hand, you sang with your entire body. The celebration space was often carefully prepared. In winter, large snow houses might be built specifically for the feast. In warmer months, outdoor gathering areas were created using whale bones from previous hunts as natural seating. The largest vertebrae became stools, while jaw bones formed impressive archways marking the entrance to the celebration ground. Dancing told the story of the hunt. Movements mimicked the tracking, the approach, the strike, and the whale's final surrender. Young children watched closely, absorbing both hunting techniques and cultural values through these performances. Unlike many modern celebrations where children might be bored by adult activities, Inuit whale celebration dances captivated all ages because they contained practical knowledge essential for survival. Stories flowed as freely as food. Elders recounted successful hunts from decades past, while the current hunting party shared details of their recent adventure. These weren't just entertaining tales. They contained vital information about where whales could be found, how they behaved in certain weather conditions, and techniques that worked or failed. The original version of online reviews, except instead of one starring a restaurant, getting it wrong might mean your village starved next winter. Special clothing appeared during these celebrations. Elaborate dance caps decorated with beads or carved ivory pieces were worn by lead dancers. Some communities had special mittens made from seal intestine that were only worn during whale celebration dances. These items were often passed down through generations, accumulating stories and spiritual significance with each use. Games tested skills needed for hunting. Some involved tests of strength, like arm wrestling or weightlifting using whale bones. Others focused on mental sharpness and memory, challenging participants to recall details from stories or identify specific parts of whale anatomy. New tools made from the recent whale were shown off, and hunting plans for the next season began to take shape. Perhaps most importantly, the celebration reinforced something essential to Arctic survival. No one succeeds alone. The hunt required teamwork, and the sharing of its bounty reminded everyone that their lives were interconnected. In a harsh environment where one mistake could mean death, these social bonds weren't just nice to have, they were necessary for survival. As the celebration ended and daily life resumed, the community carried forward not just full stomachs and new supplies, but a renewed sense of connection to each other and to the natural cycle that had sustained their ancestors for countless generations. What impressed you the most about the intricate whale hunting culture of the Inuit? Is it the skill of crafting tools from whalebone, or the fair system of food distribution that you admire the most? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. If you love adventures exploring unique and fascinating cultures like this, Don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Thank you all for joining me on today's journey.